Google Chrome has silently been installing AI models on computers. This story and more on your weekly cybersecurity news roundup. I'm Allie Diamond, and this is ThreatWire. Alexander Hempf, who writes on the blog That Privacy Guy, has been on a kick finding these hidden installations. Last week, he wrote about how Anthropic was registering message bridges in Chromium-based browsers on systems with Claude Desktop installed. This new finding revealed that Google was following a similar pattern. Chrome was installing 4 gigabytes of AI models on their devices. The model lives on your device as a file named weights.bin in the opt guide on device model directory. Yeah, the name was really that obvious. It serves as weights for Gemini Nano and powers many of the Chrome AI features like scam detection and, quote, help me write features. According to the write-up, at no point does Google prompt for permission to download this model to your system, but deletion will trigger it to be re-downloaded when Chrome AI features are active. As a heads up, the Chrome AI features are active by default. The cycle of deletion and re-download has been documented across multiple independent reports on Windows installations. The user deletes, Chrome re-downloads, the user deletes again, Chrome re-downloads again. The only ways to make the deletion stick are to disable Chrome's AI features through Chrome flags or enterprise policy tooling that home users do not generally have, or to uninstall Chrome entirely. On macOS, the file lands as mode 600 owned by the users, so it is deletable in principle, but Chrome holds the install state in local state after the bytes are written, and as soon as the variation server next tells Chrome the profile is eligible, the download fires again. The architecture is the same, only the file permissions differ. This was also confirmed to happen on Apple Silicon, as we just said, using an automated audit. They did an analysis using macOS kernel file events, Chrome's per profile state, Chrome's runtime feature flags, and Chrome's component update logs, confirming this download was happening. In one recorded instance, using an automated testing tool with no human interaction or mouse movement, the install and download was kicked off, and it took 14 minutes and 28 seconds to download, even though the page was only active for 5 minutes. Again, no user confirmation was asked to download the model. I know the ThreatWire audience mostly leans against Google products, so normally I would ask, how would you categorize this kind of dark pattern? But I know y'all are going to go crazy, so I'll open the floor to all of your comments below. Keep it civil. 2 Linux 0 days in basically 1 week feels kind of insane, but I think that this story is also going to blow your mind. Yes, another 0 day has hit Linux, this time by the name of Dirty Frag. Dirty Frag was discovered by researcher Hyunwoo Kim, and it actually consists of 2 CVEs, CVE 2026-43284 and CVE 2026-43500. Microsoft has confirmed Dirty Frag being used in the wild and exploited today. Dirty Frag is extremely similar to copy-fail, which we covered in the last episode. They're even considered to be in the same family of attacks. The attack chains together the 2 CVEs to write to unauthorized kernel caches to achieve local privilege escalation. There are no system crashes that occur when this happens, and it does not require any kind of special permissions and anything new. The 2 vulnerabilities are kernel flaws, an XFRM ESP page cache write vulnerability and an RX RPC page cache write vulnerability. Attackers can achieve privilege escalation by chaining these 2 vulnerabilities together. Allegedly, Kim found this vulnerability at the end of April, but Linux failed to patch the vulnerability. And they decided to go public with the findings. Kim released a proof of concept of the attack on their GitHub, but no patch or CVE exists for this yet because it turns out that a third party had published the exploit independently, rushing them to come forward with their findings. Because the embargo has now been broken, no patches or CVEs exist for these vulnerabilities. After consultation with the Linux distros at openwall.org maintainers and at the maintainers' requests, I am publicly releasing this Dirty Frag document. BSides news. Shiny Hunters took down Canvas, an online platform used by schools. They also stole data, but have been holding Canvas at ransom. At the time of writing, Instructure, the company behind Canvas, appears to have met the demands of shiny hunters and paid the ransom. OpenAI has released their ChatGPT 5.5 model, and according to testers like the AI Security Research Institute, it is a similar level to that of Mythos. Mythos is currently limited to critical launch partners, while 5.5 is general access. Mozilla, one of Anthropic's critical partners, has been working with Mythos to find vulnerabilities in Firefox. A total of 271 vulnerabilities were found in a 2-month period, with what they call almost no false positives. The Google Gemini CLI had a 10.0 CVSS critical vulnerability that would allow Gemini to run untrusted folders during autonomous execution. This could lead to remote code execution due to malicious environment variables. Google has found a collaboration of threat actors using AI to develop zero-day exploits, what they're calling the first time the technology is used in such a malicious context. Another series of vulnerabilities were found in several AI CLI tools falling under the vulnerability name Trustfall. Malicious repositories found on a developer's machine will be activated by AI tools without prompts from the AI tooling. Let's Encrypt turned into Let's Not Encrypt as they took a pause in their certificate issuance services. There was an issue with the cross-signed certificates linking Generation X's roots to its upcoming Generation Y root infrastructure. Thank you so much for watching ThreatWire for the week of May 11th, 2026. If you enjoyed this show, please head over and like, comment, subscribe because a few things. This is probably going to be our last episode before we hit 1 million subscribers, which is very exciting. I think I'm going to do some sort of a live stream so we can be online for when this happens together. If you don't have notifications turned on, please be sure to turn them on so you know when this is happening. Hack Vibe is literally the longest running channel on YouTube, and your support means the world to us as we approach this mega milestone. Yes, it did take us a long time to get here, but we're still here, we're still making content, and still being active, and that's to be celebrated. Last week, we did get a lot of comments around our turnaround time on stories. I know I mention it frequently in the comments, but it's just me and our benevolent editor goddess, Karen. She has been doing such an amazing job over the past few months advising me on how we can really get our numbers up and keep our views up. So there is still going to be a gap on how fast we can turn around an episode, but I know people want breaking news and I want to give that to you. But if we are a little bit behind on stories, please be understanding. That's why I'm calling it your cybersecurity news roundup. We'd love to focus more on the impact of the stories over the actual implementation of the stories. What do you think? What would make that discrepancy on how long it takes for us to get a story or an episode out versus how long or when it actually happens? Like, what do you want to see with that discrepancy? Let me know in the comments because we really do read them all. I read them all, even though I may not respond to them all. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to find me online, you can find me everywhere at Ending with Allie. And remember, good luck, have fun, and don't get caught.